All right, welcome back. On to more news now. Disney's My Son Pinocchio is one of the finest classics of all time. The story is about Pinocchio, the little wooden puppet who, after a series of adventures, is magically brought to life by the Blue Fairy. Filled with a mixture of magic, suspense, fun, and excitement, this is definitely top-tier family entertainment. So to talk a little bit more on the production side, we're going to be joined by the cast members, Nonhlanhla, Mkhonto, as well as Thabile and Ntshiza. Good morning to the both of you. Thank you for your time on the SABC at this hour.
Morning.
Thabile, let me start with you. How has this experience felt, just being part of such a magical historical moment for you?
I really enjoyed this, knowing that I'm not that good at dancing, but after training and all of the things that I'm doing, I'm really excited and happy that when I go on stage, I feel excited and alive.
Well, speaking about being excited and alive, your costume is rather loud as well. You play Harlequin. Talk to us a little bit more about the character you play.
Harlequin is basically like a character that likes columbine and sausages. Columbine is one of the puppets that is with us, and Pantalone, but I pay more attention to Columbine, and Pantalone's jealous.
Yeah, not to give away too much about what's happening. When you prepare for your character, I mean, I know the excitement is there when you go on stage and when the camera switches on, but how do you prepare for your role as well?
I have to change fast, and then I calm myself down, and then I'm ready, and I get ready to go on stage.
I think you need to give people some tips. How do you calm yourself down? Because that's something adults don't even master.
So basically, I think about all the people who are supporting me, and then that's how I basically calm myself down.
Okay, I'm going to leave you for a little bit and bring in Nonhlanhla, and then we'll get back to you. I've got a few more questions for you. Nonhlanhla, good morning, and thank you for also joining us at this hour.
Good morning.
Thabile sharing her experience. I mean, but for people who are not privy to the storyline and what they can expect, I mean, what's the offering this time around?
The offering of Pinocchio is it's a very family-oriented production. There's magic, there's song, there's dance, there's big sets. And it's just a very wholesome story about trying to be the perfect boy, to become a real boy, and Geppetto being a puppet maker who gets a chance at love and family, you know, because he is just alone. And you just get that feeling of wanting to be a father, a parent. You know, you get those people that are like, never going to have kids. Yeah. And then at some point in their lives, they just have that void. And so Geppetto gets to fill that void. And Pinocchio then, I guess, teaches Geppetto something about himself, and Pinocchio along the way of trying to be a perfect boy, you know, he also learns more about himself and learns about being honest. He learns about courage. He learns about friendship. So there's so much that people can come and see during the production.
So where do you fit into the picture? Because you are the Blue Fairy. Magic.
Oh, gosh, I'm the Blue Fairy and a couple of others. So the Blue Fairy, she changes into a couple of other characters like Jiminy Cricket. I know it's not like in the original, it doesn't happen like that. Sure. But in this adaptation, the Blue Fairy, she becomes Jiminy Cricket, the frog, the tightrope walker, and the bluebird. And that is because she kind of changes into those characters to help Pinocchio, because she's helped create Pinocchio to give him life as puppet form, but then she kind of guides him. So when Jiminy comes out, you know, then he guides conscience. And then when the frog comes out, the frog teaches him about, you know, holding on to something that you've been given responsibility over to pass it on to the next person. But along the way, you'll get people who'll try and like steer you out of the way to take that gold or take that whatever from you, you know. Then the bluebird will come in and, you know, just guide him and say, I know where your father is, so that way, you know. So it's just, the Blue Fairy is there to just keep Pinocchio in check, just in case he's on the edge of the cliff. It's just like, hey, come back, you know.
And so playing so many characters,
know,
and even crazy. Just, you know, the Blue Fairy and what she encompasses. What is the most challenging part about all of this? I mean, you're teaching something that's not real, that becomes real, about life.
Yeah. Well, the challenging thing about the Blue Fairy, in the beginning, I had to step away from being the fairy into Jiminy Cricket, into the frog, back into the fairy, all that stuff. So kind of feel a bit schizophrenic. But then in the end, you kind of get it, you know, you separate yourself from how you would feel looking like a frog or looking like a cricket, you know. So you just have to get into that character. You find, I guess I was looking at exes for specific roles, or my mother for this role, my dad for that role, you know, people that I know. I was just trying to incorporate them into, you know, roles that I'm playing, just to, you know, kind of make it different from who I am as myself.
As you know, in life,
yes,
a man plays many parts.
You know,
and you are literally taking on that.
5.
You've spoken actually about how it's been readapted for a modern audience or a younger audience
Yes.
as well this time round, and the interplay of the different characters. I wonder though if we just look at some of the classics, the songs, the expectations, because I know that's also something people are going to look out for. What can we expect on that front?
Definitely have When You Wish Upon a Star. Everybody knows that. People know that. It is a beautiful song. And then we've got Empty Heart that Geppetto sings. Beautiful, beautiful. I think it gets the audiences, you know, teary. And then we've got I've Got No Strings that the puppets sing with Pinocchio when he teaches them how to actually work themselves without strings. So those are the classical the music that we have in the production that we've kept.
Ms. Harlequin, why should people come and watch your show?
I really think that people should come and watch the show because it's very fun and there's touching moments where you see that anything is possible if you put your mind to it.
And absolutely, and I wonder how you've grown through this whole experience as well, and you know, working with the different cast members. What's been most memorable for you?
The most thing that's been memorable is watching, letting all my aunties, my mom and my dad coming to come just applaud me what I've done, and that's what keeps me going to come back and act.
How do you balance your schedule? I mean, this is something we're trying to get right in adulthood, but it looks like you've got it sorted there. What do you do to make sure you do school well? You also, you know, can perform.
I mean, I have to come back from school, then I have to catch up the things that I missed on the days. I have to do it all when I come back home. I have to do it, all of it, and then go perform. So it's very,
Is this something you want to pursue in the long term? Do you think you found your thing?
Yes, well, the things that I would want to do when I grow up is I want to be an actor, a fashion designer, and a modeler. Those are the 3 things that I desire, and I feel like this one that about an actor, it's going to come true because I can feel like it's going to come true.
Oh, you're living it. You are it. You are an actress right now, and thank you for sharing your story as well and for inspiring so many. I mean, there's never the right age to start, and you've had the courage to do that. So thank you for being here and for sharing your story. Nonhlanhla, if we look at how people, where this is being showcased, the platforms, how people can also interact, I mean, how do they go about doing that? Why should the family be coming out to watch this?
The family should be coming out to watch this because there is audience participation as well. So the kiddios will get to be able to come on stage and be a part of the show. I also think it's such a good production. I think kids will then be able to ask questions to their parents afterwards. You know, it will create a question and answer between parents. Parents will be able to, you know, answer their kids about what they've seen, what they've experienced. And they can just come to the Joburg Theatre Complex at the People's Theatre and enjoy it. We end on the 21st of April. And there's still time.
There's still time.
There's still time.
What are your thoughts on South Africa's culture? In terms of theatre culture, how we also have taken this Disney adaptation and added our own unique flair to it.
You know, I think with any theatre production around the world, there is some sort of we can relate to productions, especially with the culture that we have about honesty, you know, and there's so much corruption, you know, in our country. I'm not really one to talk about politics much, but, you know, there's a lot of things happening, and I think Pinocchio will teach people on life skills and people, you know, just to be honest, to be brave, to be courageous, to go ahead. And I think within our South African culture we have that, and in the theatre space we are growing. You know, we are growing, and I think we can take things and get the rights and adapt them to each and every different culture. Zulu, Sotho, Tsonga, Venda. You know, you can take Pinocchio and also adapt it and make it, you know, in the ways of how people live in South Africa. I don't think it should just be an English thing. It can be adapted.
No, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Thabile, I have to go, but I want to know from you, what was the biggest lesson you learned from Pinocchio?
The biggest lesson I've ever learned from Pinocchio is that you can do anything if you work hard for it, and don't lie, because lying only traps you more deep into a hole. So
I feel like I can drop the mic after that. Thank you. Thank you to the both of you for joining us this morning.